Okay, I'm Tatum. I'm a sophomore, and I will be giving this video on how to be a 1N, giving the 1NC and the 1NR. I'm a 1N, so speaking from experience, I guess. So the 1NC is a very straightforward speech because you prep it out all before the round. You do this because before the round you should already know what the affirmative is going to be, so what the plan is going to be and what the advantages are. You would ask that before the round, so that is something that you have to do, but you would know what the 1AC is going to be in accordance with the 1AC, that's like the case section of the 1NC. I don't know why I put quotes on that. It is the case section of the 1NC. But you also have your off-case positions that you want to read, which I think in this tournament you're running DAs and T. Not sure exactly which DAs and which T specifically, but I know you're reading those. So in those files you should have, or there are 1NC shells, which are basically like shortened versions, I guess, not really shortened, but like compressed versions of the off-case positions that you want to be extending later in the debate. Those 1NC shells you should literally just copy and paste them and put them into your speech. They're typically pretty generic and can be applied to a lot of affirmatives. But for a DA, I don't know, it might have like specific links, like the plan does X and the plan messes X up, but a lot of times they're pretty generic. And you will like copy your 1NC shells a lot. They're not really specific to that specific debate, which is why the 1NC can be made pre-round. So structure the 1NC. You have your multiple off-case positions. So I typically like to put T first if I'm putting T in my speech, because it's a more threatening argument for the AF, and a lot of times it's shorter. I just like to get out of the way. I put T first. That's just my preference, I guess. It really doesn't matter, I don't think. I don't really think it matters. But then you put like your other off-case positions, and then you put case, which are cards that respond to specifically the 1AC. Examples of the cards, their impact won't happen, their impact doesn't matter. So if they read like an economic collapse scenario, then you can just say the economy won't collapse, or the economy collapsing won't do bad things, or X, Y, and Z. So like impact defense, you can read plan won't solve the problems that they outlined, they won't solve their impacts. Plan isn't key, so there are like alternate causes to the problems that they outline, etc., etc. I'm just giving examples, but the arguments that you want to read on case are in the case neg file, and before round your coaches will help you select which cards you need to put in, but they're pretty self-explanatory. I mean, they're not really self-explanatory, but if you go in the file and they have a tech leadership advantage, so they want to have leadership in tech. You can, a lot of times those impacts will be similar, and you can just pick out some of those cards that you think have a wide breadth. So on case, something I should mention, the cards that you read on case shouldn't be very similar. Like, they should make different arguments per each advantage, because if you read multiple cards that make the same argument, it's kind of a waste of time. You want to make multiple different arguments so that you can so you have the opportunity to extend different arguments later in the debate. It gives you a lot more options, and it's more efficient, in my opinion. As you practice more and as you get faster, you'll be able to put more cards per argument, but I think as a general rule of thumb, you should make very diverse, that's what I was looking for, diverse arguments on case, plus your off-case positions. That's 1NC. Should be made before round. Your coach will help you. The 1NC is very straightforward, and you'll get used to it so fast. You should really not worry about it if you're a 1N. My goodness. Also, the 2N makes the 1NC, or the 2N should make the 1NC. I'm a 1N. I personally made the 1NC throughout my novice year just because I wanted to get familiar with the arguments, and I thought it would be a good way to do that. But now my partner definitely makes the 1NC because the 2N, the positions are that the 2N is sort of the captain of the neg ship, in that they should structure the neg debates, and they should know what arguments you want to go for, up to the 2NR. So yeah, the 2N really should make the 1NC before the round, and your coach will help you with that. Don't even worry. Okay, so the 1NR. If you're 1N, this is the second and final speech that you will be giving in a negative debate. So the 1NR is also a pretty straightforward speech in my opinion, just because in the negative block, which is the 2NC and the 1NR, those are the only, those are two neg speeches that are back to back. So it goes, I'm just going to, 1AC, 1NC, 2AC, then the 2NC and the 1NR. So the job of the negative block is to respond to 2AC arguments. So that's why, for me, the 1NR is very easy speech, because you have so much prep time to answer the 2AC arguments, because you have the prep time used before the 2NC, which, if you're 2N, you probably should take prep time before the 2NC, the entirety of the 2NC, and 2NC cross-X. So you should not take prep before the 1NR. After 2NC cross-X, you really should not take prep, unless it's a special, I don't want to say occasion, but there are exemptions from that rule. If the 2NC really forgets something, you can't find a card, like a really essential card. But typically, honestly, during your speech, if you need like one card, the 2N can probably find it while you're giving your speech. So really, you just, as a rule of thumb, you should just not take prep for the 1NR. You probably don't need it. Even if you think you do, you probably don't need it. So during the 2NC, you really should be listening, because your partner could mess something up. I'm sure your partner's good, but your partner could certainly mess something up. They could read an argument that contradicts themselves, or they might read the wrong version of an argument, or etc., etc. You really should be listening to all of your partner's speeches so that you're paying attention, you know what's going on in the debate, but you don't need to be flowing, like writing down what they're saying. I'm sure Weston and Vincent have gone over flowing with you, but you really should not be flowing, because you do need to be like prepping out your 1NR. So you kind of need to be multitasking during the 2NC. It's not super difficult, especially if you can sort of like understand your partner. I don't know, it's just because you want to keep them together. It's more organizational. So the job of the negative block is to respond to 2AC arguments. So typically, or not typically, but you should answer the 2AC arguments in the order that they make them. So going with this example of the OPOP-DA, if they read no uniqueness, no link, no internal link, no impact, you should answer in the same way, or in the same order, not the same way. You should read yes uniqueness, ABC, yes link, ABC, yes internal link, ABC, yes impact, ABC. And by ABC, I mean you should make multiple arguments explaining why their argument is wrong, or multiple cards on it that say slightly different things, because again, you don't want to be super repetitive in your speeches, because that is just less efficient and it wastes time. But you do want to make multiple arguments. So you want to answer the 2AC in the order that the 2AC reads those arguments, and you want to make multiple points or multiple arguments per like argument that the 2AC makes. So if the 2AC is numbered like 1 through 6, you should do 1 through 6 like point A, B, or whatever. You just need to make multiple arguments per 2AC argument, because you have a lot of time to do it, and the 2AC will spend like maybe a minute and a half on your off case position, if they're doing it efficiently and correctly, whatever. But the 2AC will not spend as much time as you have. It's like a 1 to 5 or 2 to 5 disparity of time. So you have a lot of time to answer those arguments and to like really flesh them out, really like thoroughly explain your position. That's the whole point of the negative block, is to like set up the 2NR, like really extend and like flesh out those 1NC arguments as much as possible. And the 1NR has so much prep time to do it that really the 1NR should be a really, like, not to put pressure or anything, but it should be like a good speech because you have so much time to do it. Okay, so that's the line by line portion, and I guess I'm explaining this in like a little bit of a confusing way because that's answering the 2AC arguments is called line by line. That's what I just explained. At the top though of your speech there should be an overview. Overviews is a craft that, or writing overviews is a craft that even I have yet to master. You'll learn how to do it as time goes on, but the basic idea of what an overview should be is really explaining your impact and doing impact comparison and impact calculus with their impact or their impacts. So if you're taking the OPOP DA, like I'll just continue this example, your impact would be environment collapse, or I think there might be multiple impacts, but like environment collapse. And say the 1AC read tech leadership and economy. So you want to say why your impact, magnitude, time frame, probability. So you want to do impact calculus for that, and say why your impact matters more essentially for the overview. It really shouldn't be long. 30 seconds is a good number to aim for, I think. There can be exceptions to that, but I think as a general for your first tournament, 30 seconds is a good overview length. And then you just say onto the line by line 1, and then you just start answering the 2AC arguments. The structure of the speech is like pretty straightforward. And for finding those things in the file. So you want to look for the file of the thing you're extending. So if you're doing case, you look on the case neg, and you look for labels of things that say 2NC or 2NC/1NR. If they say 2NC, a little bit of a confusing way, because that's answering the 2AC arguments is called line by line. That's what I just explained. At the top though of your speech there should be an overview. Overviews is a craft that, or writing overviews is a craft that even I have yet to master. You'll learn how to do it as time goes on, but the basic idea of what an overview should be is really explaining your impact and doing impact comparison and impact calculus with their impact or their impacts. So if you're taking the OPOP DA, like I'll just continue this example, your impact would be environment collapse, or I think there might be multiple impacts, but like environment collapse. And say the 1AC read tech leadership and economy. So you want to say why your impact, magnitude, time frame, probability. So you want to do impact calculus for that, and say why your impact matters more essentially for the overview. It really shouldn't be long. 30 seconds is a good number to aim for, I think. There can be exceptions to that, but I think as a general for your first tournament, 30 seconds is a good overview length. And then you just say onto the line by line 1, and then you just start answering the 2AC arguments. The structure of the speech is like pretty straightforward. And for finding those things in the file. So you want to look for the file of the thing you're extending. So if you're doing case, you look on the case neg, and you look for labels of things that say 2NC or 2NC/1NR. If they say 2NC, that's just intended to be for the negative block, because there's no like rules on what the 2NC should take or what the 1NR should take. So if it says 2NC, it's just intended for the negative block. So you can like look at those cards, and those will be good, and then just look for the cards or the arguments that answer the 2AC, really. So yeah, you find that in a case neg if you're doing case. Impact turns, the impact turn files. DAs, the DA file. T, the T file. That's sort of self-explanatory, but that you should not be reading. Oftentimes, even, I still see teams who read, like, they present their whole 1NR in a story format. So they say, so if they might do like what I just did, like uniqueness link, internal link, impact, and then you just explain your argument. But really the focus of the 1NR needs to be answering the 2AC arguments in the order that they gave them. So even if they say, first, no link, second, no impact, third, no uniqueness, fourth, no internal link, and then they make another no link argument. Even if the 2AC is like that, a little bit disorganized, you need to answer it in the exact order that they gave it, because the job of the 1NR is not necessarily to be telling a story of your arguments start to finish. It's just to be able to flesh out those 2AC arguments. So yeah, honestly, the structure and the purpose of the 1NC and the 1NR are a little bit, they're definitely easier to understand or to sort of conceptualize than the other speeches in the debate, just because you don't have to use actual prep time for like during the debate, which makes them a lot more manageable, I would say, than the other speeches. So yeah, being a 1N in neg debates is it's pretty nice. It's pretty straightforward. But if you have any questions, you can email me. My name's Tatum again. My email is tatumrichardsondebate@gmail.com. I'm open to answering any questions, obviously, and good luck at your first tournament. Go fight, win!